Hello there and welcome to another episode of the Hong Kong podcast. Today we will talk about the awful situation in Hong Kong.
Yeah, because a bunch of things is happening at the moment.
We also have a very special guest joining us today who have a big interest in the situation in Hong Kong.
Hello there.
We have promised to keep his identity secret for him to participate in the podcast. So from now on, we will just call him Kim, so the government can trace him and arrest him.
So Kim, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, of course. I live in Hong Kong in a city called Kowloon with my girlfriend. I'm 28 years old and I take a part in a lot of demonstrations in Hong Kong.
The biggest demonstration in Hong Kong yet was on the 16th of June 2019. About 2 million people were on the streets.
So Kim, why do you participate in the demonstrations?
I participate in the demonstrations because I think the government needs to wake up and realize what the people of Hong Kong really wants. We're angry about the extradition bill and China's involvement in our autonomous region.
Okay, that's a good point. When did you start participating in the demonstrations?
I started demonstrating in August this year and I've been demonstrating every week since. My school is not happy about it because of all of my absence. The same goes for my parents.
You might have to bring your parents with you.
Have you seen an increase in the number of protesters participating in the demonstrations since you started?
Yes. When I started, we were just a couple of guys from the university who were out on the streets during the week. And then there were a lot more people protesting in the weekends. At the weekends, we always knew that we were going to demonstrate. Now we are together with people from the university and demonstrating during the week as well.
Have there been an increase in violence during the time you have been demonstrating?
Yeah, it's very unsafe to be on the streets during the protests if you don't know exactly how to handle it. When I started, it was very peaceful, but now it's much more violent and brutal.
So have you ever been in danger because of your ex?
Yes, the police started to use tear gas. One day that I thought would be without tear gas, so I left my umbrella at home. We use umbrellas to the protests against the tear gas and water cannons. Because I left my umbrella at home, I got exposed to the gas and my eyes started to sting a lot. It was so fucking annoying.
That doesn't sound nice at all, but what do you hope to achieve with the demonstrations?
Other demonstrators we have talked with said that they want the extradition bill completely withdrawn.
Yeah, we want to secure our human rights, such as freedom of speech, one thing that they don't have in China. We also want to get the extradition bill fully withdrawn. But we also want to keep our democracy and get China out of our political system.
That is 3 very good points. I might have to join you on the streets of Hong Kong.
Do you think that the way the LegCo is built up is problematic because of the lack of democracy you can find there? The citizens only vote for 40 out of the 70 seats in the LegCo.
Yes, it's built up in a very weird way. It would be a lot better if we could vote for all of the 70 seats. That way we could potentially see an increase in the democracy in Hong Kong and get a more democratic political system.
Hong Kong has a very complex history with 2 opium wars against Great Britain. These wars led to a 99-year lease of an area of China which became what we know as Hong Kong. This lease expires in 2047, then Hong Kong is getting handed over to the Chinese government.
So how do you think that this has affected the ongoing situation in Hong Kong, that the lease is ending in 2047 and could lead to a lack of human rights? Are you also fighting for your human rights until the lease ends?
I think that the history affected the situation in a bit because we know what is going on, what is going to happen in 2047. So we are trying to make the handover as good as possible. We are protesting to maintain our human rights, which they don't have in China.
we could probably have been demonstrating for our human rights if it wasn't for the lease, because then we would just be Hong Kong forever and keep our human rights.
The year 2047 is clearly a big mark in Hong Kong's future and will decide how the rest of Hong Kong's history is going to turn out.
So Kim, what do you think will happen after 2047? What do you hope will happen?
I think we'll get very oppressed under the Chinese regime and lose our rights. I could also fear that some of the violent demonstrators could be sent to prison because of our actions against China. I hope that we'll just keep Hong Kong as it is now, but it ain't going to happen. So, realistically, I hope that China will let us get some time to adapt to the Chinese lifestyle.
As you can hear, Hong Kong has a very interesting history that might have been building up to the demonstrations. The demonstrations will most likely be a part of Hong Kong's identity in the coming time, and it's very exciting to see how the handover in 2047 will turn out.
Thank you for listening to the Hong Kong podcast. We hope that you found it interesting and will listen to the next episode.